You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Wednesday. My name is Brock. I do want to apologize if I have a certain tone in my voice. I was having a great morning until I stepped out of the car at work here and just absolutely drenched my socks in a bunch of snow. Didn't wear my boots this morning, and now I'm just right chapped. I'm not gonna lie. Wet socks is just an instant mood changer for me. It's because it constantly reminds you of its presence. I just feel like I guess I don't really need to say this. You wouldn't have known. I think I'm just gonna take my socks off and go barefoot in the studio all morning. Unless my girlfriend comes and drops me off some socks. Is there anything more annoying than wet socks? Instant mood ruiner, like I said. I mean, whether it's a puddle, the snow just seeping into your shoe there, feeling and hearing the squish. You don't even hear it, but you can feel it yourself as your toes start to shrivel like a raisin. I want to give a shout out to anyone who's got wet socks, wet sleeves, wet anything right now, and you haven't freaked out yet. Honestly, a round of applause to you. I just feel like the worst part about it is usually being wet is a good thing, but not right now.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
We're talking about really small, stupid things that can absolutely ruin your morning. Like this one from Roger, who said, "I've got a hole in my sock this morning if that makes you feel any better." Yeah, I know that feeling. Terry said, "Nothing worse than getting sap stuck on your fingers and you're nowhere close to a sink." Ashley said, "When you've been waiting for your Uber Eats and it finally arrives and is terrible or wrong, and it's like you either eat the crap or wait for new food, but either way you're pissed and unsatisfied." Sitting on a wet toilet seat, says Sam. "Oh yeah, that's the worst. Someone telling you something to do that you were just about to do." You tell me you're in a relationship without telling me you're in a relationship, Brian. When you're speeding and you see the cop too late. I mean, that one's on you, but it's the worst feeling in the world, especially because you're obviously running late already. Sleeping through your alarm is a classic one that a lot of people are texting in. And then I gotta be honest, my favorite one came from Emma. She said, "This happened to me this morning. I'm running late for work, let out my dog, and it refuses to drop a deuce." My dog does that thing every single morning and just walks around in circles, and it's like, "I love you so much, but just hurry up."
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Does anybody actually have a good excuse to get out of a speeding ticket? I was reading this story about a guy from Connecticut who got pulled over going over 130 miles per hour, and he claims he was only going so fast because he was in a hurry to see his cat. And I mean, I get it. I got pets at home. I feel guilty leaving them home alone longer than 3 hours. I don't want to come home to any surprises from my dogs on the floor. But that probably doesn't hold up in a court of law. It only really works if the cop is like a cat person, because cat people have that weird bond. You guys are like a cult. But I mean, I think the best excuse is if you're having a bowel movement or some sorts. I mean, a cop might not care about your pets, but he might understand you ran a red because you have the runs. I know tons of people use like medical emergencies, family emergencies, but I mean, pets or not, we've all experienced a Groundhog Day before, you know, where you're really prairie dogging, hoping it doesn't see its shadow. Don't want an early spring, if you know what I mean. Anyone can relate to that.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The first one, I was coming back from the States when we lived out in British Columbia. Got across the border, and I was speeding a little bit, and the cop pulled me over, and I said, "Oh, I was just gearing down or whatever." It was an automatic, and she totally bought it.
Nice.
Yeah, the second one, I was ripping along the road doing 25 over 80, and I told them that I changed my rim size and hadn't calibrated my speedometer yet.
Those are actually pretty legit, too, actually. So,
well, it can throw it off like 2 or 3 kilometers, nothing huge.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they bought it.
Oh, that's amazing. Well, I'm going to keep that one in my back pocket.
It's a good one. I can't believe I got away with the gearing down one.
Oh, that's amazing. Thanks for calling, buddy.
All right, Brock, have a good day.
Yeah, you too, man. I got someone else with a voice message here. Here's what they said.
Yeah, I've never had a good excuse on how to get out of a speeding ticket before, but I will say saying that you got a speeding ticket is a fantastic reason on why you're late.
You know, that's actually true. It's pretty genius because it shows that you were actually in a rush to get there. You were willing to risk your lives and other people's. You're willing to go above the law just to hang out. And I know maybe you could use like traffic or weather, but I mean, if someone else was on the roads, they can totally call your bluff on that. That's why I'm jealous of all the people who are texting in that they got out of tickets because of their kids. There's like 3 different texts that I see of people saying they use their kids as an excuse, which in itself is sometimes one of the reasons why I want kids. A, to have an excuse to get out of things, and B, to get that free Halloween candy.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Valentine's Day is quickly approaching, and if you're still mad at your ex or you're trying to get over them, the Toronto Zoo is actually doing something pretty cool this Valentine's Day. They're letting people name cockroaches after their ex. I've seen tons of zoos do stuff like this where you can pick like a greasy animal like that to name after your ex. Or I've even seen zoos do stuff where, you know, like the rats they feed to the snakes, you can name them after your ex. So you're essentially killing them off. I like the idea of that. I've seen restaurants do stuff of like you take a photo of your ex and you shred it and maybe get like a free pint or whatever it is. I think you could honestly, you don't need to spend money. You could do a lot of this stuff at home if you're really still dwelling on them, trying to get over whatever it is. Just start naming stuff after them in your house. You know what I mean? Like refer to your toilet as them. Maybe your cat's litter box. If you have a dog, the little doggy bags. Start referring to those as Steve's. You know what I mean? Same thing with the garbage can. The garbage itself. You're taking out the Jessica. Anything gross that you hate, name it after your ex. Traffic, right? You're wasting time. It frustrates you. It's very fitting. Although, a little bit of irony to say, I'm stuck in my ex right now. That one's a little bit misleading.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
So what I seen online was a girl put a meme on Facebook or Instagram, whatever it was, that she set up a Tinder account, and on the Tinder account she put her ex's cell phone number so that potential partners can text in photos of their equipment.
That's so cruel, but so good.
Right? Isn't that wonderful?
You know, it feels a little bit illegal. Honestly, what you should start doing is if you have an ex that you hate, just take like their email and start signing them up for like annoying newsletters and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So that they get all the spam mail.
Hey, thanks for chatting.
You're welcome. Take care. Have a great day.
Yeah, like every time you go to Canadian Tire, write down a ridiculous bid on one of those auction photos that they have up there. Or even better, you ever get those scam callers that ask you if you want your ducts clean? Just put your ex's address in there. It's a great way to mess with them and also find out if that's actually a scam or not.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
As a parent, do you have a favorite child? Do not lie to me. I know you do. Yesterday we were talking about names, and I guess Patrick Mahomes had a kid a couple weeks ago, and he decided to name it Golden Mahomes, which, you know, is whatever. Until you look into the names of his other kids. He's got 3 children, the first one being named Bronze, the second Sterling, and of course the newest one being Golden. And maybe I'm looking into this too much, but are they literally ranking their children? I mean, one is basically the golden child. And don't try and tell me, oh, I love all my children equally. As a child, I know who the favorite is. As a child, you also know when you're not the favorite. I think the worst part about this situation for Patrick Mahomes' kid is there's Bronze, Sterling, and Golden. They also have a dog named Silver. Imagine being outranked by the damn dog. That's rough.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
As a mother, be honest with me. Do you have a favorite child?
I do not. My children were all my favorites, and I make them feel that way, it seems.
Oh, come on now.
You know, and then, I mean, I had 5 of them under 6 years old, and then 4 years later I had another one.
There's no way not one of them is a favorite.
Not one of them. And I have 17 grandkids, 5 great-grandkids.
You know what you sound like? You sound like a professional mom right now.
I wanted to be a professional mother. Thank you.
I'm not saying you're a liar, but I don't believe you.
There you go. We listen to you every day here.
Oh, thank you so much. Take care.
You have a great day.
All right. Now I want to get a father's perspective on this. Brother Jay, Do you have a favorite child?
It all depends on the day, brother.
Is that how it works?
One day it could be my son, the next day it could be my daughter.
And how does the rankings switch up here?
Well, it all depends on how badly they 3825. That's kind of what it boils down to, bro.
I mean, I guess you look at like certain circumstances. I bet you Jeffrey Dahmer's brother is probably the favorite in that one, eh?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Have you ever seen ZZ Top without beards? I just came across this photo on Facebook, and man, is it a trip. Text beard to 762-555, and I'll send it your way. I had to Google it to see if it was real. It's just not the same vibe. I mean, it's when they were first starting out, they look like a completely different band. They look like just completely different guys in general. And, I mean, I know this isn't a new take or anything, but beard is essentially makeup for guys. Ladies, if you're dating a guy with a beard and you have never seen him fully shaved before, you got to make him trim that off just so you can see what the real beast is underneath. You can get beard fished if you're on dating apps and stuff like that right now. I mean, you look like the basketball player like James Harden or Travis Kelce. But then again, I mean, not every beard has this effect. If you can't properly grow a beard, I mean, it's just like putting new shiny rims on a Pontiac Aztek. But I will say this. If you're in a relationship, at least once, you need to see them without a beard. Because if you think about it, there's a reason why America's Most Wanted always does the edits with and without the facial hair. I'm not saying that you're potentially dating a serial killer, but you really don't know until you shave it off.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Yeah, today's word is forestall. Yep, forestall. 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 And it's to obstruct anticipated events by taking action ahead of time. Or to get ahead of. Or anticipate. Anticipating can be kind of dangerous. I just kind of take it as it comes. Sometimes that doesn't work out the best for me either. But anyways, that just about does it. Have a great one. Cheers, you're up.
Forestall or forestall? Let me see.
Forestall.
Forestall is the proper pronunciation there. I mean, let's just say some people should wear protection to forestall having children. I mean, with the weather we've been having right now, if you put winter tires on your car, you could forestall ending up in a ditch. If you chug water in an Advil before you go to bed when you're drunk, you can forestall your hangover. Or, I mean, another way that you could use it is, have you ever been at the bar trying to pick someone up? You're having a good conversation. Then their friend just cuts in, takes them away, shuts it all down. Your game just got forestalled is what happened. Forestall. Use it wherever you can today, all right?
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.